Welcome to season 5 of She's All Over the Place podcast, Hollywood and NFTs. I am so excited to have you here. I have a special guest on. Her name is Colleen Kahl. She's the president of the Actors Connection. And I have an epic story about the Actors Connection. And literally, I've been on about 250 podcasts in the last year. And in brushstrokes, when we talk about acting and we talk about couples therapy, my web series, I always actually pay homage and talk about Actors Connection and birth my story. And I have Colleen on here today, finally. I'll just, invite her on and then we'll share the story organically. But Colleen, thank you so much for joining me today. Hi.
Katie, I'm so happy to be here. I know we've been trying to get this together for a while, so thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to support you. So thanks for doing this. Thanks for allowing me to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And let's just talk about real quick before we get into some stories. What is Actors Connection for someone tuning in?
Yeah, so basically we're predominantly an online professional development facility for actors who are looking to train, build connections with great new people. All of our classes are taught by people working in the industry, casting directors, agents, managers, voice directors, and so on. So if you're looking to get your career to the next level, start with us. We're a great place.
1000%. And because, Actors Connection, I found out about it in New York, but, there's Actors Connection in Atlanta and LA. And, during the pandemic, everything went virtual. So you can be anywhere in London. You can be in Australia. I have a lot of international listeners, Philippines. You can be anywhere and you can get involved in the Actors Connection and get on their mailing list. See all the events they have. They even have past episodes in the vault that you can see if you weren't a part of the Free at 3, which was East Coast, 12 o'clock Pacific. You can get you can watch the playbacks on these educational tools. So thank you for sharing. And what happened was I love Actors Connection. And what happened was with the Great Reset in 2020, Colleen was sitting outside on her bench, I think with her dog. It was a visceral thing. And I was there. It was the very first Free at 3. And the world in March, April was blowing up. And I was at the very first Free at 3. I was there and listening to Colleen outside talk about what was going to happen. And I was there, literally showing up. My attention and my energy had to be in the synergy of the craft, of actors, of entertainers, of feeding off of each other's energy, because everyone was doing whatever. And I wasn't on the news. I wasn't doing all those things. I was at the Free at 3. I was showing up to be with my fellow thespians. And just then I put my head down and I'm like, okay, what can I do? What do I know? Create. Well, half the union at SAG-AFTRA was closed down because the government was closed down. Everything was closed down. So I'm like, okay, how can I jump through hurdles and create with, myself and my friends? How can I create without doing the paperwork of SAG, without the paperwork that would take weeks to get approved, and then it would be months because of all the hurdles. So I remembered I remember when I called the union and I remember asking about punked, and I remembered asking how can I create, but I'm a union actor. So if you're using your name, if it's non-scripted and if it's improv comedy, you can create. So I'm like, okay. And I remember the shows that the girls did, Broad City, right? And it went on to certain things. They were able to go out and create around New York City. So I created Couples Therapy. We have 3 full seasons 1, 2, and 3. I'm pivoting and putting them all on the blockchain, but circling back around, that birthed because of Actors Connection, because I wanted to put my head down. And I'm saying this story as integral parts because a lot of people are like, how do you do it? What do you do? Start messy. The intention. I showed up to what I wanted to do in a catastrophe. I aligned with Actors Connection. That was the first thing. The second thing was I put my head down. How can I do what I have to do, want to do, remove obstacles? That was the second thing. What's the next thing? I contacted my friends who are advantageous, who wanted to be a part of something exciting. And we did it on Zoom, East Coast to West Coast. And we ended up doing seasons 1, 2, and 3. And the story goes on. But before I go on, I just want to say, Actors Connection also had, something that they were doing where they were gifting funds to people of color and more diverse groups. And, one could apply. And I was sharing that with my friends. And they had another thing where you could submit your projects if you created it during the pandemic. And I did, and they selected mine, and then they put it on their website, and they were honoring me. So the Actors Connection is doing a bunch of fun things. It's not just like one thing. And I met this woman who does hosting, and I met Martin Benson, who was on the podcast about branding. So like, and I grew with the community, and you could just like connect and hear other people's stories, like singers, musicians. So I am an advocate. I love Actors Connection, and when I'm on podcasts with people and they ask me, I always talk about Actors Connection as a healthy communicator, as an incubator for people to go to. So again, it's such a deep honor to have you on the show. Thank you, Colleen.
Katie, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing all that with me. I've been following you actually since we first met at Free at 3. I'm like, who's this Katie? She's a mover and a shaker. And when everything closed down, basically, as the president of Actors Connection, I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, things are going to look different, right? And throughout life, things are going to disrupt the status quo, and you can't be afraid. You got to lean into it. So I'm like, all right, well, when in doubt, my instinct was to like, let's just be generous. All right, we don't know what we're going to do right now. We don't know how it's all going to pan out. Let's use this time to be generous to actors in our community, which is why we started that Free at 3 program, which is why we also during that time did more scholarships, because it was a crazy time for everybody. And, without your community, where are you? So, we definitely wanted to, just focus in on that and, celebrate the people who were members of Actors Connection, gift to them what we could gift to them, and support their projects. So excited what you're able to make during this time. It's with those crunches, with lack of time or lack of resources, or, the inability to leave the house, things like that, forces such creativity in unique ways. And when you are constrained, sometimes we think like, oh, okay, now we can't do anything. But really, sometimes when you have that box, you can really allow yourself to get creative within those walls. Because Katie, I know you're like me, where you just want to do all the things all the time, right? All the things. Look at the name of your podcast, So I'm with you. I am right there. And sometimes we can really do really interesting work when we give ourselves like a little box in which we're going to work. We're going to do a little project that fits in this box. And let's get creative as we can get within these parameters. And interesting things can come out of that. You don't have to wait until the sky is the limit. You can start right now, all of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you see me welling up, but I feel it. But I am feeling very emotional because everything you just said is brilliant, and everything you just said is the ethos, is the ecosystem of Web3. So I already know I'm going to introduce you to so many bosses in the space, and you are just going to lead in Web3 with talent and being a president that you are, and just like spearhead and just like really dominate in such an ethical way, because your heart and your soul of curiosity and gifting and giving and nourishing community, like everything you just said, like is exactly the ethos and the heart of the community of Web3, of NFTs. So these people who are coming in, bumping it, like pumping and dumping, and like the all the chaos or the things that you hear that's giving it a bad name, those people are coming and going. And right now it's called a bear market, and it's like the community building when you're in the bear market and you develop these relationships, and then we can pivot and put everything that you just said onto the blockchain. So this is very amazing of everything you just said. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's leaning into new things. And, I think when new technology comes about, and let's be real, our industry has needed new technology for a long time, especially when it comes to theater. It's been a long time before we had any big disruptive changes. COVID came and literally turned everything on its head. How people audition, how people connect with one another, how people train, how people follow up. And honestly, it's been a long time coming. So I think the time that we're living in is really exciting, because if people can just embrace these changes and ride these waves, they can come out way further than they were when they went in, by just being open, by leaning into the learning and being open to new opportunities, which I know you are. And I'm super excited. We talked briefly about before hopping onto this podcast, about you coming in and talking to actors about the opportunities that exist on blockchain for them. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
And I'm very new to this whole world. So I'm just kind of begun my learning process myself. But in terms of having ownership over your work, there really has never been a better way historically. I would love for you to just share a little bit about your thoughts about the future of the work for actors through these mediums.
Oh yeah, one thing that comes to mind 1000% is I'm working with this company, right? Where it's kind of like a Netflix. And so all the creators who are creating music, comedy, drama, improv, scripted, whatever, obviously you have to watch out with the music that you're not using someone else's music, but it's like it's a streaming service where like each talent I can gift them their own channel and it'll be subscription based or they can earn crypto while people stream their content. They're already doing it in Web 2. Right? So everyone's doing it in Web 2 and all our information's being scraped and utilized. And we're like, who are they? Who are these people who are like collecting our data? Well, on the blockchain, everything's transparent, which scares some people. It's like, oh, I don't want everything to be on the blockchain. I don't want to be so exposed. But also like, you don't want people doing unethical stuff with your data, which is happening in Web 2 now. And so this is being very transparent of like, you can put your creations out there and there's something called smart contracts. So it doesn't matter if you're Snoop Dogg or if you're, a new singer tomorrow or a new actor tomorrow, or if you're a Reese Witherspoon. They all have the same smart contract on these multiple marketplaces, and there's multiple marketplaces, and you can vibe and decide which marketplace you want to be on. And I want to be on all of them. Why not be on all of them? There's no contract like a union actor. You have to only be on one marketplace. You can be on multiple marketplaces. But in regards to a marketplace, what you want to do, they have these smart contracts, and you put in the smart contract like, okay, this is the price for this is this. So the best thing for actors who are going to really grasp this quickly, actors and painters, right? So if you're a non-union actor, you do a commercial, you do a project, you get paid a fee, $50,000, $5,000, and that's it. They can air it for life. But if you're a union actor and they do a commercial or a project, you get paid residuals and then they have to renew. Well, with the smart contract, you get paid for the job that you do. And let's say like I'm selling an NFT, right? I'm selling this thing that someone buys, right? Like let's say it's me in a movie and someone buys it and I sell it for X amount of dollars. Well, let's say a year from now or 6 months from now, I'm doing a movie with Johnny Depp or Reese Witherspoon or something like that. And that value of the NFT goes up from this price to that price. Whoever the collector is, whoever collected, who believes in an interest in you, whoever the collector is, they can sell it for whatever they want to sell it for. Let's say it was sold for 1,000, they can sell it for 300,000, right? Because the value of the art in the market in the NFT. Now, this is the exciting part for you as the person who's selling the initial NFT or the initial project, the initial thing. In the smart contract, you can put a percentage. And so the normal percentage is around 10%, not financial advice. You could do your own research, but it's around 10%. So every time it sells and resells on the blockchain, you have a wallet, and it with the public wallet that you have that's on the blockchain. Every time a transaction happens, you don't have to get BBDS radio or Nielsen radio or SAG or all these like production companies making sure you're like getting your collected money for your music, or if it's playing internationally or foreign sales and stuff. It's on the blockchain in the smart contract, and every time it sells and resells or streams and plays, you get the money into your wallet. So it's a social responsibility, like a bank account, that you don't give anyone your seed phrase, which we'll get into when we do 101 NFTs. But also, like it's being responsible to not lose that information and to not put it online. Don't screenshot it. Don't put it in your phone. Like memorize it like a good actor. Write it down in a couple different places, because to avoid being hacked, avoid someone like getting into your wallet. That's a whole nother conversation. But to stay focused here, the cool thing is the smart contracts, having smart contracts and having it be that everything's on the blockchain and that you're getting the residual checks, and not being an actor and only getting paid one time and then feeling left in the dust for your hard earned work, or being a painter selling something to a gallery and then people go and collect Monets and Vincent Van Goghs and all these art pieces that, like, I have art out there. It could be, they could have sold it to other people. I have no idea. I'm not getting any residual income from it. It's like being a non-union actor. But on the blockchain, when someone buys something, it can be the digital asset, right? But it also can be a physical. You can say, hey, you're going to get a digital asset, but also with the utility that becomes the behind the NFT, you can also get a physical. Now, that's a whole nother sector of learning. But so, like, to stay focused here with NFTs, like, there's one company, there's other companies, but like Manifold, XYZ, you can be a sovereign being and have your own smart contract. So what I'm doing and what my friends have done and what I'll share with actors and talent, they can do their own research. They can work with these companies and have their own smart contract. So instead of going to a marketplace like OpenSea or Magic Eden or another marketplace, Rarible, or there's so many marketplaces that are coming up and developing right now, and there's like the concrete ones, you can have your own smart contract, bring them to Chonacas.com, bring them to your own website, have them mint the NFT from your own smart contract from your secured website, right? The initial mint. And then when it goes on secondary sales for sales and resales, it can go on OpenSea or to another marketplace.
Well, I think it's really wise that you're advising actors to look into that, because we're moving in that direction, and to have that sort of protection for your work, I think, is really valuable. I really think it's also going to be interesting for actors who are also writers. There have been some bumps in the past in terms of, actors doing some improvisation in the room and ending up in the script, that sort of thing. So I think that these contracts are going to be just so protective for your creativity, the value that you're bringing to a project. It's very exciting.
1000%, 1000%. And I'm definitely spearheading and leading in a way that I'm the very first actor to release an actor headshot on the blockchain. So the community I'm building for actors and spearheading to educate and onboard my fellow thespians for them to go and empower themselves, and then gift them ideas of utilities and things that work for them. Because some people are extroverted, some people are introverted, some people like to travel, some people don't. So there's different utilities that you can offer other people to grow your community and to connect with others and collaborate. And the best thing to do is to collaborate and do things together. And we, as creators, we naturally collaborate and do things together. So that's easy for us. We like to do that. It's the stuff
Oh yeah.
before that got in the way. So it's very exciting, and I'm excited to connect with you because we can do it together.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
team sport. It's a team sport,
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So what are the plans now for Actors Connection?
Oh gosh, we have some really cool things coming down the pipeline. We just launched a membership program, which I'm really excited about. I joke around that it's like the massage envy for actors, where instead of getting a massage every month, you are getting an intensive with a casting director each month, including some other really great bonus products. You're getting networking sessions, you're getting business classes, you're getting a weekly accountability group. So our membership program, I'm really jazzed about it, especially because sometimes we get busy and we need to, when you're in this career, and a lot of people have side hustles or other projects or passions that they're interested in. You need to make sure that you are maintaining a heartbeat of consistency when it comes to a career as an actor. This program is going to help you do it. So I'm very excited about our membership program. We just launched it this year, and we've had members that get great reps recently and book awesome jobs. So we're super excited about that. One of our other big programs are our fast track programs. The fast track is just a really great short-term program. If you got 3 months and you really want to put your head down and focus in on your career, meet a lot of people, do a lot of learning and training, and get a lot of feedback, that program is ACEs for actors. And that program has served actors at all levels of their career, early on, and people who are trying to reinvigorate later on. We are seeing actually right now a lot of people coming back to the craft. People who maybe started when they were younger, took a hiatus either to have a family or pursue another career option, or, to help their family, or, take on a different role, and then are now coming back into the career right now. That's super exciting to me because, often people who walk this path, it's because they were inspired. And I am a believer that if something brings you joy in your heart, you are supposed to walk that road. So I'm always applauding people who have honored that joy and that love for this business in themselves, and have taken the time to come back into it. Because, as we know, this is a wild business. It's not linear. It's not like go to school, get a job, ta-da, you're an accountant. It is a full-on squiggle, so it takes guts, I think, to pursue a career as an actor. So super excited for people who, when they finally honor that within themselves and come back into the business. So we're currently welcoming and helping actors make their transition back into the industry, which is of course so different right now, but not too long ago, you were only auditioning in the room. Not too long ago, your headshot was black and white. There's been so many changes over the last 2 decades within our career. So we're super excited to help people make those
Yeah,
changes.
love all that. Thank you for sharing. Love all that. And yeah, also like with like you said, the technology of, we can be anywhere and do the audition, and be with our coach and do it with our coach online. A lot of time when I'm on podcasts, they ask like, where do I start? What do I even do? And I know Actors Connection, when you're like signing up to like read for an agent, you can read for agents in the industry and managers and casting directors and directors and things of that nature. You actually have a database of scripts of films and TV shows. So people are like, oh, like, where do I go? What do I do? You already have a database so people can go and sift through and they want to do a comedy, drama, TV show, film, to help them find a monologue. You even have monologue courses like, to find a great monologue as an actor, right? Like have a piece, have a material that you work on for a week, or make a month commitment and like work on it week to week. So do you want to talk about the database, how actors can get in and have this juicy material that you offer, and how you're able to offer it too, because it's stuff that's been on network TV.
Yeah, so truly, my best advice for actors looking for material to perform in a classroom setting specifically is to think about actors that you're most similar to in the marketplace right now. And then look at their earlier, lesser known bodies of work, early indies, pilot episodes, or early episodes of longer running seasons, and try to source 2 to 3 pages from that and find something that works for you perfectly. So you want to think about an actor that you're like, oh my gosh, I could be them. I could be them at this point in their career. So I think that's the best way to find great material for yourself. I also often tell actors that if you're finding something that's not quite right, play with it. Like if you got a monologue that needs some adjustments, maybe write your own version of it. Feel like, especially when it comes to commercial copy. Commercial copy, think of a product you like, write your own commercial. Find a commercial on YouTube,
Yeah.
adjust it to yourself. Be empowered to help you find material that presents you in the best light. Because at the end of the day, agents, casting directors, managers, they want to see how you can work right now in the business. What can you do right now? Who you can play right now. So that's just a great way to go about
Wait,
it.
before you go on, I have two things. I have two thoughts on that. Two, I'll just
Oh, yeah.
backpedal. Two, I have a couple voiceover coaching clients, so I'll ask them like, what brands do you vibe with? Like, which brands do you use? Start listening to brands and be like, oh, I sound like that. I sound like this. I sound like this. Like this could be me. And so I have this one client specifically that came up, and I didn't have any copy for that. I'm like, let's go to the website. She went to the website. I'm like, just start reading it. I'm like, take the first 2 paragraphs, and I'm like, practice that and come back next week and give it to me and give me, your take on it. So people can do that like with their voice for voiceovers. Those are the next steps energetically for brands for voiceovers. Now, and then backpedaling to the first one. So I'm going to be the muse here. Okay. And I know me, I know what people say. I'll put you on the spot, but like, for you, because we evolve and we change, so like I'll say mine, but I already know mine. So for you, when you see me, if you were like a casting director, a producer, or a director, and you're like, yo, so like you would say, oh, she's like this. She could be in this. Like, what do you think with my energy? TV, drama, comedy, a look-alike, a sound-alike. Go ahead. So to give people an example of what you just meant from that.
Yeah. So you give me a little bit of chutzpah, you know? So I actually, did you see the movie
I need
Joy?
to. I will.
With
Ooh.
Jennifer Lawrence. So I love that story. It's a young entrepreneur. You're going to resonate so much with her. You're going to love this character, and it's based on a true story about a woman who developed a product and brought it to QVC and became a professional inventor. It's really an awesome story, and Jennifer Lawrence is the lead character, and I feel like you have the fight in you that Jennifer Lawrence has in her, where you will be scrappy and you will get to the top. So I would like to see you tackle a
Okay,
character
okay,
like
okay,
that.
okay, okay, okay. So we can go on, but I'm just gonna stop right there just for like, just for to be mindful. But what I want to do is just hold the phone, and whoever's tuning into the video on YouTube, hey, Colleen's so gorgeous, obviously. And the person who's tuning into the audio, what we just did is so important. You already know what you know about you and what's swirling in your head, and you can write those things down. The important thing is to get someone like Colleen in an actor's connection and with other people and ask them. Like, it sounds weird. I'm gonna put the attention on myself. I'm gonna ask about myself. I'm gonna seem like I'm asking about myself. But not that it doesn't matter what you think about yourself. You need to know what how you're marketed, what the industry wants right now. So like, I just learned something new about a film that I can entertain and watch. I just learned something about an arc of a character, of something that's probably comes from a true story, but whether or not it is or not, like I know about something like a Jennifer Lawrence type. So then when I'm out talking directors and producers and a casting director or a potential agent, and they're like, who do you sound like? Before I was at A3 in LA, and one of the commercial agents like, you give me a Kristen Wiig-ish type of vibe. And that was the first time I said that. And
Mhm.
they said it to me. Instead of me telling them, they said it to me. So people say, take note of what people say, but also have the courage, what Colleen earlier said, have the courage and ask in a help, not your mom and dad and like that, but in the community of like Colleen and I, ask like another actor, like, hey, like from my vibes and the essence, like who do you see me as, like a sound alike, look alike in a movie, like who do I remind you of, right? So people tell me like a modern day like Mrs. Maisel, like the real walking talking Mrs. Maisel. But Colleen just said something that I have never heard before, which is so awesome. So then when an agent is talking to me, I can remember, put that into my database of like, you know what? Someone recently told me like a Jennifer Lawrence type from the movie Joy. And that's it. Stop. Just stop. You don't have to say anything else. Let them take that in. They're going to know you've done your research. That's the smart, intentional work that we need to do if we really want to be in this industry. Things like that are the key to give people a brushstroke of like how they can pitch you to casting directors and how they can maybe put you into their realm of the next steps of possibly working together.
Great advice. Great advice to actors, Katie, for sure. Getting an idea. We actually do this in our fast track group where when someone's stuck and looking for material, what I'll do is I'll have the rest of the fast trackers just pop into the chat. Okay, what shows do you feel like so-and-so should be looking at? And it's just everyone types in their opinions. And of course, that's opinions. Opinions are going to resonate with some people, not with others. Everyone is seeing the world through their lens. But sometimes you're going to be inspired to discover new shows, and you'll find new things. You'll find new writers and new showrunners and new projects that you're really excited to get involved in. And it's a great way to find
Great,
awesome
great.
material.
I want to pivot and talk about visualization.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
probably my favorite subject
cool.
ever, hands down.
Let's go. Just share with us about
All right, so
visualization, what that means to you, where to start, and how it applies to being human and for the craft of entertainment.
honestly, you
Mm.
can apply it to anything. I think it's our closest thing to a magic wand on
Yeah,
planet Earth right now is a visualization practice, which is really hand in hand with meditation. I really feel like visualization is a type of meditation. And I have brought this skill to actors before, and I have seen it make huge strides in their careers pretty quickly. So, and I've used it personally in my life in every facet of it. So stories for a rainy day, but I attribute visualizations to my baby, my husband, my job, my year at 30 years old living right on the ocean, you name it. Like, I attribute it to visualization. Basically, at the end of the day, we're all just
Mm.
energy. My glasses, me, you, my computer, we're just energy. And this moving energy, right, is seen as mass, right? We're seeing it
Yeah.
as things, right? At the end of the day, it's all just energy. So by visualizing the life that you want to live, you are internally changing your energy. Okay. And at the end of the day, like attracts like. So these are, at the end of the day, scientific principles. I don't have a degree in science. My degree is in acting. So we're going to talk about it in layman's terms here. But if you can change your energy to be higher vibe, more positive, more powerful, and just moving at a more phenomenal frequency, you can attract the right things into your life. Now, a lot of actors are very visual people. For me personally too, I'm a visual learner. And if you know you're a visual learner, this is the mindset tool for you. So when you can visualize your future and your goals and the things you want, and you can truly fully visualize the moments you want to live, it's like a rehearsal for your life and a rehearsal for your energy, which then in turn acts as a magnet to bring those things to you in your life. So, for example, for people who are involved in acting, I think visualization is really important before any big audition and any big self tape. Taking a few moments, getting quiet, closing your eyes, and visualizing that moment going exactly how you want it to go. So it's not just visualizing the action steps, it's visualizing and feeling the feelings. What are the emotions? How does it feel in my body to live this moment in this positive way? And visualize those positive outcomes. Visualize feeling powerful. So it's basically a rehearsal for that real moment in life. And the more that you can sink in and do that, when you get into the moment, your energy already knows what to do. So it knows not to operate from a lower frequency energy like fear or
A couple things.
give me
A cou-
or
yeah, a
anger
couple things I want to
or
say. Two things I want to say. One, the biggest thing is I feel like not controlling, allowing the unknown to flow so you can be in the energetic state to sensorially feel, because as an actor we're like worried and feared about the lines and self-taping. Is our hair and our like what's going on, like, you know what I mean, like on the camera. So we're so in our heads about the technical
Mhm.
aspect, but once we get all that sorted, take some space, as you're saying, to sensorially get into the body, because we can't control those feelings, so we need to allow. And the second thing that I say all the time, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I've been following Dr. Joe Dispenza for a while. So we have 60 to
Mhm.
70,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of those same thoughts running around the track. And he says like 90% of those thoughts are, like, I think negative, right? Like negative thoughts, or 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts. So basically, it's an energy, like you were saying, it's an energy running around the track, running around the track. So when we get to the space to quiet the mind, to quiet those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that are going, those thoughts are energy. Energy is a thought that turns into form, that turns into matter, right? So it's dismantling
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
thoughts, dismantling the energy that keeps going around in circle, and being acutely aware and attentive that we can only focus on one thing at a time. And when we're really focusing on that one thing, we can decide where that energy is going. And then a way to hack it is, oh, my mind's swirling, I'm worrying. Okay, lean in, like you said, be kind, be gentle, be like, oh, my mind's going off on a tangent. Bring yourself back to, okay, I need to be in flow here. I want to just like allow myself to feel things. Oh, something's coming up again. And then just keep calling it. And so if the leash is like a dog leash, like really long, you're just like snipping it, shorter, nipping in the butt. So we can take that attention of that energy and make it more visualization of, like, what we want to be focusing on an island with Reese Witherspoon doing a movie. Let's go. And like, whatever it is for you. Okay. So I just needed to add some of those energetic thoughts and vibes that came up. Thank you.
Well, 100%, 100%, and it's, by visualizing these things, like, doing, 5 minutes in the morning, visualizing being on that island with Reese, right? Rehearsing for that moment is going to train your body to live at that energy. You can't attract anything into your life unless your energy is ready to meet it. So if you're operating from an energetic level that's down here and you're wanting an experience that is up here, well, you're going to have to mind the gap in order to live at that place, right? So it's about training your body and your brain to operate at a different energy. And like you said, there's so many thoughts you have like swirling around, and your brain can only sift through so much at once. So if these are the amount of thoughts coming in and you're constantly only letting in this amount of data, well, by solid visualization, focusing on what it is you want, visualizing, seeing what it is you want, you may train your brain to sift this way and see this piece of data that's been coming at you all this time, but you've been missing it because you can only take in this so much and you've been looking at this section, right? So often we've been living in a place thinking like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm not getting the results. Well, what data are you not looking at that you've been receiving all this time because your brain can't possibly process all of the things coming at you at any given moment? Visualization is going to help you with that, helping you move the needle over a little bit, looking at a different subset of information so you notice the body language, you notice how to interact with someone, you notice what to say, you think and are inspired to do different things, and next thing you know, your frequency creeping up until you get to that goal level. I have to say, I don't tell anybody to take my word for it. I want you to go live it for yourself because, it is a game changer. And I got to tell you a fun story. I was talking to this one actor, and he was like, Colleen, I can't get an agent, womp, womp, womp. And I'm like, well, tell me a little bit about you. Let's unpack this. And he goes on to tell me he's been in callbacks for Tyler Perry a bunch of times, but he can't get an agent. And I was like, well, this doesn't add up to me. And I'm like, well, let's look at how you're talking about your career. You're like all Eeyoring about your career right now. All right, well, let's get a little bit of Piglet in here. We need to talk about our career from a place of joy, from a place of deserving. If you need to operate from this energy, if an agent is this energy and we're living here, we're minding the gap, right? So I got him on a visualization practice for 2 weeks. He had an agent within 2 weeks. It was an energetic block for him. He was ready. He had the talent. He was able to get into the room. Him not getting a solid rep was truly an energetic block for him. And it wasn't until he started to think and talk about himself from a positive place and visualize the relationship that he wanted, that's when he was able to get that result. So I tell everybody, but you got to do your homework, right? You got to be trained. You got to be ready. You got to have the headshot. You got to do your homework. But if you've done all of those things and you're ready and you feel like you're hitting that wall, add visualization yesterday. Start that practice. It's really going to change things for you. And in your next meeting, you'll feel different in your next meeting if you have a solid visualization.
This is amazing. And also I want to say like total respect to the person, that actor who came to you, because that person had the courage to say that. He spoke his frustration. So a lot of people keep it inside and isolate and just beat themselves up. But he actually put out, even though it wasn't something that was blocking him, he had the courage. I mean, who knows how long he was hoarding it, but he finally had the confidence, the connection to get it out there and then be able to, find someone who could, in a healthy way, support him in that way. Because sometimes we're saying this thing, but they're not the people who can help us with that block and the energy stay stuck. So it's being mindful of pivoting. That's why Actors Connection has this amazing ripple effect of a community, an ocean of a community that really helps navigate in the ocean of where we are. And lastly, it's the reason why I made season 5 Hollywood and NFTs, because I want to have those interpersonal connections more and more and more, because I'm doing so many things. But how can I double, triple, quadruple down if I want to be, which I do, a new series regular again on a TV show and be in the films and be a lead in a voiceover animation series? Well, there's so many areas of writers, directors, casting directors, producers, and energetically, like energy I'm putting out, how can it be reciprocated so it can go back and forth? So I am focusing and pivoting all that energy of she's all over the place, because she's all over the place can still be all over the place in Hollywood entertainment and NFTs, and they go together because those are my 2 main things. but they go together because of the technology of Web3 and where we're going. So I'm so excited that I was able to take everything that you just said and then put it into like, that lane. So then I can just build on that energy and have it be reciprocated and learn and grow as I go, but also empower others and we can hold hands together. So I'm very excited about this. Thank you for everything you just said. Well, you just dropped some major gems. Added a lot of value, and she's all over the place. I'm so excited. The last thing I want to talk about before we roll out, and obviously if you're open to it, I would just definitely love to have you back on She's All Over the Place in the near future. Yay. Is radical transformation. So a radical accountability. Let's dive into that.
Oh gosh, I love that. I feel like we live in a world where people are taught to blame. And it's because holding yourself accountable for where you are in life is hard and it doesn't feel good initially. But it is the only route to build the person that you truly want to be, is holding yourself accountable for your results. Because at the end of the day, you are responsible. You are responsible for building a beautiful life. Not your family, not your boss, not your circle of friends, you. It is your decisions, it is your drive, it is your habits. And I think that it is easy to let yourself off the hook, especially when there's so much going on that you can use as an excuse. And Katie, like, you're such a great example of like not using anything as an excuse. You're like, okay, the world's gonna like fall apart. I'm gonna write a series. Let's go. So that's why I think you're reaching the success that you're reaching now, is because you held yourself accountable to who you wanted to be in 2022 when you were living in 2020. So I think that that's extraordinary. And I think that, of course, sometimes you need to take some moments of self-care, but you can't just you can't just live in the bubble bath. You've got to decide what you want in your life and hold yourself accountable to the goals that will help you get there. And I think the key to doing that in a way where you're not burnt out and you're not like upset and angry and stressed out is doing it with great joy and scheduling it in great joy and looking at the action steps with and in great joy. Because at the end of the day, it's just you and your decisions that you're going to be living with, and that's going to be building the life that you lead. And on your last day on this planet, I want you to look back at your life and be like, hell yeah, I lived it and it was delicious. And the only person driving that is you, because we're in an energetic universe, like we were just talking before. And because we're in an energetic universe, everything is available to you. I don't care what teacher told you couldn't do it, or what parents said it wasn't going to be available to you, or who said that you weren't going to be able to succeed. They are wrong. The only person who decides it is you. So the only person who can hold you accountable to your dreams is you. So I think it's really important, to leave this message with everybody today that, your destiny is completely in your hands. It is available to you. I don't care how many actors look like you or have come before or are in the business. There's no one like you. No one has your magic mix. No one can do or bring to the work exactly the heart and the knowledge and the magic that you can bring. Not a person on the planet. So yes, there is room for you, but you are the
Exactly. I mean, I don't even
it.
have to say anything after that. I'm just so moved. Seriously, it's just yes to it all. Like, if someone says our dreams are too big, just don't talk to that person. Get away from them. Like, I mean, anything is possible. Like, there's only one you, like you said, and like whatever I have going on in here, it's the makeup of something that no one else can ever do, because they'll never understand the complete makeup of me and the person tuning in. The one thing I do want to say that came up for me in regards to everything you just said is, um, even if it's like vegging out and being inspired through shows like the creator of the TV show Wayne on Amazon, like during the pandemic I was watching Wayne and I just got that authentic, radical accountability roar in me, because there's these 15-year-olds who are like, rebels without a cause, who are in love. And I remember I tapped into that raw energy of me being when I was 15. I'm like, yo, this is so gritty. I want to be on the show. And this is I want to be more authentic to myself. And I wrote to him on Instagram, and I want him on the show. And now he follows me and I follow him. And then like another one that comes up is like Billie Eilish, her documentary, Nina Simone, her documentary, and not Alanis Morissette, um, um, Amy Winehouse. So we can do it by listening to podcasts like this, to getting inspired, to let those things move around, and then immediately take notes and write down the things that hit you. Like write down those things and then keep that journal to follow up, or watch something that's going to move you and then write it down afterwards. And then that intuitive hit, apply the action with that intuitive hit. So get in action, be inspired, and then apply that action, messy, one at a time, or bulldoze 10 in one day, whatever. It depends on your energy and what we want to put into it. But I have this vigor inside of me where I'm like, roar, and I want to roar even more,
Mhm. Well, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. The inspiration is beautiful. Take the action, right? Because if you've got something locked in your heart, you're not doing anybody any favors by not sharing it. It's your duty as an artist to share it. So you're not doing anybody any favors by playing small. Let it roar, as you
Okay,
would say.
everyone tuning in, thank you
Yes.
so much. Follow, she's all over the place. There will be show notes for the Actors Connection below. Get in contact with Colleen, say hello, sign up, make it happen. Go to Chonacas.com. Subscribe if you're not already. Share this with your fellow entertainers, entrepreneurs, thespians. Sharing is caring, one click at a time. Share it on the platforms. I have merch. You can pick up my merch. Subscribe to the newsletter. We love you, and you have just witnessed and experienced Colleen Kahl, the president of the Actors Connection. We'll see you next time. Mwah.